All right, we're live. Today is Monday, July 16th. It's not like you guys haven't seen my crazy mug in the last hour. We just finished up Manic Monday with the beautiful Yvonne Sandoval and the very muscular Joe Curcio. He was born in 1995, and our show focuses around 80s trivia, so he was very good guy. But I'm here with Lena Morris. Lena and I have been friends for quite a while, especially Joe Toma. Give us a thumbs up. Let us know you can hear us or see us. That is the most important thing, because I did one interview. You may not know this or not. I did an interview right around the hurricane times where it was with an attorney, and we were talking about really serious stuff and trying to give good information, and there was no audio whatsoever. So give us a thumbs up, give us a heart. So we got a heart. There we go. All right, so Lena, welcome.
Thank you.
Look how beautiful you look. Look at her skin. It's glowing. Mine's glowing because I'm old. I'm going through menopause right now.
Oh my goodness, you are
like a
too
9
kind.
head. No, you look fantastic.
You're so
And we
kind.
match. Her lipstick matches my jacket, which I don't know if you guys can see. It's kind of a Merlot velvet jacket.
Merlot
Thank
velvet.
you. I don't know. Somebody had to tell me that. I didn't really know. So welcome. Thank you for coming on. We've been trying to do this for a while, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, we have.
So you have the most amazing title that you titled yourself, that you kind of build your business around. It's the Entreprenista.
The Entreprenista.
All right, so I had to spell that 9 times before I spelled it right, because entrepreneur is a tough word to spell anyway.
Right.
Joe Thomas says, hi, Lena Morris, great to meet you. Ted, your guests are the best. I know, right, Joe? Joe, I keep trying to get you on. You have to come on and talk
Joe.
about stuff. You've got this whole crazy, amazing life that you've led. So we love Joe Toma. So welcome. Thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so let's give them a little bit of background, because obviously, maybe in your mind you were born the Entreprenista, but what happened when you were born, and tell us a little bit about your background.
Okay, so let's see. Let's make a long story. Let's make it short. So I like to tell people that I am an entrepreneur by DNA. I am the product of 4 generations of entrepreneurs. My great-great-grandfather started in Detroit. He started to kind of rebuild and refurbish housing, and so my family moved from Detroit. And I remember when I was a little girl, I remember my father, my great uncle, my 2 uncles and my grandfather, they came and they started this construction business, and they self-performed. They literally went out and drywall. And so sidebar, little known fact, I am the oldest of 6, and there's 4 girls and then 2 boys. So my father didn't have any boys until the end. So he taught me how to drywall.
You know how to drywall?
I know how to drywall. Yes.
Listen, I've got some drywall things I need help with.
My husband, he's like, don't look at me.
I don't know how to drywall. I didn't even know that was a verb.
Yes. Yes. So I remember when I was young, I remember peeking out of the window and seeing them leave in this tan truck. And so as I grew older, my uncle, who is now the president of our current family business, he grew the business and changed it over, and at one point he grew it to 8 offices and 200 employees. That was at a peak, and right now we've come down a little bit. That's another part of the story, but that's the background, to tell people that I feel like being an entrepreneur is in my DNA. However, I did kind of leave and go off on my own
I was going to
path.
say, so you didn't play with Barbie dolls and then all of a sudden wanted to do construction? I don't know. So tell us a little bit about that beginning time. Like, what was the change for you? Because a lot of times when people have family businesses, the last thing the kids want to do is be part of it. Like, they're like, oh my God, I've lived and eaten and breathed this the entire time.
Yeah.
I want to do something on my own, which is what you did.
So I totally went off on my own. I ended up in Orlando because I was recruited by PBS and NPR. I worked for several different stations. Jose Fajardo, who's well known in this area.
Yes.
Yeah, he ended up hiring me for PBS and NPR. I worked there for several years.
What'd you do?
I did marketing and membership. Yeah.
And she's on this show. God bless her. Is this part of your Pay It Forward charity work that you're on
my God.
the TED show today? Like, what's happening?
I love being here. Your show is great, Ted.
You're so good.
So I got laid off, and I woke up and decided I wanted to go to hair school. And my family was like, what?
Did not see that coming.
Oh yeah, they're like totally like, what are you doing? What are you doing?
Although your hair looks awesome.
Thank you. Thank you.
That's a great cut.
That was part of the reason I was like, I want to know how to do my own hair. That is not a good PSA and disclaimer. That is not a good reason.
That is
to
not
embark
really why. Yeah.
in a journey through hair school. Okay, but so immediately when I was in hair school, I realized it was a big mistake. But I decided to live, to be true to my mistake. And I was like, how can I make this better? And I said, you know what? I do like makeup and wardrobe. And so I went through and I ended up having a really great career with makeup. I worked for BET and VH1.
That's why your skin, I mean, besides DNA and genetics, that's why your skin is flawless.
Hey, a little bit of just blush and bronzer does just.
Is that what I need? I need something that gets rid of my 9 head.
We're gonna give you some. We're gonna give you some.
There's not a big enough dabber or whatever you guys call them in the makeup world.
Yeah, so I had a great time doing that, and I had actually at one point my own TV show that was on Dish Network, O Town TV, Afrotainment, and I was at the peak of that, and I got sick, like really sick, like in the hospital, like sick for 6 months, in the hospital for almost 2 months. As I'm going into my second surgery, my show got canceled. I had 3 surgeries. I got home. I was looking absolutely crazy. My husband's like, okay, you need to do something. You need to. And so I got a call from a colleague, and she was like, I want you to come up and help me out. There's a new president who is at the African American Chamber, and his name is John Davis. Why don't you come? So I went up to, and I told him, and I said, listen, I'm only going to help you for 1 week. 1 week.
She set the standard. That was it.
But that was 4 years ago. So
I understand that pain. We all get it.
So
only 1 week.
I started. It really helped. So like I told you, I was being an entrepreneur is in my DNA, and so being able to help entrepreneurs and talk about working in your purpose every day, it was the most brilliant journey.
Why was that important? Was the organization in a transitional place where you felt like you could come in and you could lend your talents to that? I mean, obviously they were open to whatever you had to say, which is awesome.
So the chamber had just gotten the new president, John F. Davis. He had just come in. He was brand new, January, February, and I came in to start helping him in March. And so it was a new time. It was going with his vision and working with him on strategic plan and where we wanted to go for the next few years. So it was a critical point. It was a wonderful experience, and so that's how.
Is that the John F. Davis that's now in charge of the? That's
Davis.
The big wig.
That's
nice.
the big wig now. Yep, that's my old boss.
So London Sanders says, looking amazing, Lena. Ted Dapper as usual. Love the jacket. I adore you.
So
look,
dapper.
I did it just to match her lipstick. I love John F. Davis. He's a great guy.
He is, and that's why I ended up staying for 4 years. That 1 week.
4 years.
Yes.
Yeah, isn't it funny how, I don't know what your faith base is, but your higher power has a different plan for you than you have.
Different plan.
You can come in and say, I'm only going to stay a week. Yeah, 4 years later. But don't you feel like that was good for you? That was good for your business? That allowed you to kind of cut your teeth on things?
It was amazing for me. It was during that time when I started to kind of revamp myself. So I had this very strong fashion background, and I had done not-for-profit previously before I took a turn. And I worked for Urban League and Healthy Start. So I had positions and leadership positions, but I said, okay, I'm only going to work for myself again. So I had that fashion background. I came back into not-for-profit, and I'm talking to one of my mentors, and I'm telling her, like, well, I want to change my brand. I don't just want to be known for makeup and hair and wardrobe, and I want people to know the business savvy I had and like what's deep inside, and I want to be able to share my story because I have a lot of stories, a lot of mistakes that I made when I had my own business. And so I was giving her ideas, and she was like, no, Lena, push deeper, go deeper. And I was like having these sessions with myself. I was like, okay, what is the calling? And like one day I woke up and I was like, I'm the Entreprenista. Like, duh.
All right, to say that. Good afternoon, Kat. We love you. The Entreprenista, which took me 10 times to spell properly, because entrepreneur is a tough word to spell in and of itself. So what made you, that was just like your vision. One day you woke up with it, you've been praying about it, talking about it, thinking about it, manifesting it probably. So Entreprenista, so define that. What does that mean? So you're the Entreprenista, which I love. Yes. I absolutely love that title, by the way.
Thank you.
I love that you brand yourself that way. Nobody else does. So what does that mean?
And it's trademarked.
Oh, it's trademark.
And it's trademark.
I might not have known that. All right, so because I don't really read, so your bio was real pretty.
Thank you.
So talk a lot about the Entreprenista, though. Like, what does that mean when you tell that to someone? What should they get from that?
So that's a lot of different things. So, you know, one of the things it is, it's a new age female entrepreneur. You know, we are, when you look at the stats, women-owned businesses, women entrepreneurs are leading the way. African American women are particularly leading the way in the last 10 years. You know, it's one of my taglines is from the green room to the boardroom. So it's showing it's showing you how you can go from being, you know, behind the scenes, being in the production, and you can end up having a seat at the table. You push yourself, be uncomfortable, but not lose yourself totally. So I still have my lips on, which I was telling you about that. Sometimes I get comments about, but you know, I have my hair.
Tell them a little bit about that, because I think sometimes people go, oh, Ted, you've got these people, they've been put together their whole lives. They've never run into any snags. She's the Entreprenista. Of course she is. She looks amazing. She's got all of her stuff together. But you had to fight some, I'm sure a lot, but one of the ones you mentioned was about your lipstick. So tell them that story.
Yeah, so, you know, the family business that I've been called back to, so now transitioning again because they came to me, my grandfather, my uncle, and my father said, listen, you are the next, we're passing the baton to you. You need to come back and we need you to
Did you go, no way, I don't want that baton?
For a year. I did no way. But then I said, you know, like how you said, the universe really kind of puts you in a position and you're like, okay, I think they need me. Well, our family business is building and construction. Yeah, so fashion and makeup, building like way over there.
Complete opposite.
So, you know, I had to end up going into, and I have to go into rooms every day where people may feel uncomfortable with my look. So one of the pieces that I was telling Ted is that I actually had someone to make mentions that, you know, your lipstick is too much and it makes me uncomfortable.
Who could, like, I don't even understand. It had to be, was it a good old boy?
Yeah.
Okay, so here's the thing. This is the part that makes me crazy. So so they're probably in some terrible polyester jacket, if that. They have shoes on that they bought. I mean, it's just the fact that they would comment on your lips that it made them uncomfortable. What that says to me is they're uncomfortable in their own skin. It doesn't have anything to do with you, but you're the easiest target.
Yeah, so, you know,
that makes me crazy.
You know, Ted, I had to get to that point to understand that. So, you know, the first, I will share with you, the first construction meeting I ever went to on behalf of my uncle. We were in the elevator. It was a group of gentlemen. I'm the only woman. And he said, oh, are you here to take the minutes?
Oh, God. I don't mean to laugh, but God. You know, okay, so here's the thing. So when people hear that, I mean, that's a terrible assumption. So why would you assume that? You're here, so you're the secretary, right?
Yes.
I'm glad they didn't say, would you please fetch me some coffee, Lena? Because that probably was next.
Probably next.
That was totally next.
That was totally
so
next.
how have you overcome that? Because you have to do it in a way where you're not ticking people off, but you're still establishing your groundwork, your boundaries. So what have you done to be the Entreprenista in those situations?
So I have learned a few things. One of the things I learned from my executive coach, shout out to Vantage Point Coaching, Demetria Sloan, lead like a lady. And so all of the things.
Lead like a lady. That should be your hashtag.
Yeah. So all of the things that, hi Candace.
Oh, Candace is coming on the show next week.
Awesome.
Love her.
So all of the things that make us special as women, we sometimes are told to push away from in leadership positions.
Right.
You know, we're nurturing. We like to talk. We like to interact. All those things. So by leading like a lady is kind of going into all of those things. So it also helps you to do something that I call yell softly. So there, and with a smile.
Yell softly. That's good. That's good.
Because you encourage people to lean into you, and you can say the same thing, and you don't have to be very loud about it or obnoxious, but you can almost make them feel bad that they said something like that to you.
It's so funny. And John, I never want to see you in makeup, by the way, or lipstick. You said people hate when I put on too much lipstick.
John,
Please do
I
not,
know,
John
right?
Wild, ever, please, never want to see that. Don't put a picture on. But I feel like that people, it is, I mean, women and then minority women, on top of women being minorities, have a bigger challenge. But I feel like anybody who's a little different in the whole sphere of what is apparently people's 9 dots, it's a challenge, and you have to figure out how not to be so demanding that they look at you and call you terrible names.
Yes.
but you're impactful enough
Yes.
where your message is heard. So I love the fact that you took entrepreneur, which a lot of people, so it's hard for people to spell it, me too, so I'm not judging anybody. So if you're an entrepreneur, people don't understand, I feel like people know the spirit of it, but they don't know how to take the next leap. So you had to make a conscious decision to go, all right, this is my family's business. I've already run successful businesses completely outside of this business, but really people are the same here.
Yes.
I don't know why that went off. Oh, my whole phone. Well, there we go. It's all right. I love you people. I don't know why we have to take those extra steps or why we have to have those guards up, but I love the fact that you're like, all right, I'm going to be an entrepreneur and you're going to have to figure out how to do it, but you understood that you couldn't come in like a bull in a china shop and do it, right?
Right. I think that that's important because for me, one thing that I take very seriously is I may be the only encounter someone has of someone of my kind. And I say that so just look.
Someone of your kind. The fact that we actually have to say that makes me crazy, but I can't even imagine.
But it's the truth, especially some of the meetings that I'm at. I am in a room a lot as the only female and the only female of color. And so I take pride in the fact that I can leave an imprint and leave a positive imprint regardless of what happens. I've had people yelling over me at times and had to handle the situation, like bring it back together. And after that, had them come up to me and say, wow, Lena, you really, that was just, great how you handled that. So if I can help in my small, just impact, if I can help to shift the way individuals think, because all I want to do is shift them enough to be open-minded. That's
Correct.
it. I just want to shift enough to be open-minded. We get in our pocket, and it happens with everyone. We get in our pocket, and it's this and that. And if we can just be open-minded enough to embrace folks just for and diversity and inclusion. So I don't use anything else but diversity and inclusion anymore because we want to include the culture. We want to include the diversity.
Absolutely.
It's what makes us beautiful.
I agree. So so hi Marita. Marita's on. We love her. So where did you learn that as a child? Were you raised in an environment where that was encouraged? So you're the oldest of 4 sisters, 2 brothers, right?
Yes.
So was that part of how your parents were, your grandparents, your extended family? Or is that, okay, so it was. So
yes.
Talk about that, because I think a lot of people weren't, like I wasn't raised in, I grew up in a big Italian family, so we all yelled over each other, but we all hugged and everybody had wine, which is probably why I'm like a lot of wine. But I think that you're growing up, you kind of take your cues and you either go with it because it's positive or you go against it because you didn't like it. But yours was obviously positive.
It was positive. I am so blessed because of my family. They made me feel like anything was possible. And even when I deterred and went my own way in life, I still felt as anything was possible. And the one thing that my father always instilled in me was just to show everyone respect. I mean, just to be respectful of everyone and allow people at least a chance to speak. And so that is carried with me to this day. And I like how you said, everyone is my friend until they give me a reason not to be my friend.
Correct, because I was sharing with Lena earlier that a couple of people have actually said, when I describe someone when I'm posting, I say, this is my beautiful friend, my amazing friend, my wonderful friend. Because until you prove me otherwise,
yes.
You're my friend. I'm not going to change because there's a lot of idiots in the world. It's just not going to change who I am. So if we have interacted, if we spent time together, we have broken bread, we have shared wine, we have shared water, if that's your passion. And you're my friend, but a lot of people look at that in a weird way, and you can see because they stay in this teeny tiny cocoon of whatever their little circle is, and they don't venture out, they don't explore, they don't engage, they don't welcome. And I just feel like for me, that's a horrible place to be, and I know you're not like that either. I would never want my world to be like that.
And people get to a point, I think, where they just feel comfortable. So it's nothing against anyone or against anything. I think people get to where they're comfortable, and sometimes things that make folks feel uncomfortable, then they may shy away from.
And you shouldn't. So, look, I'm on camera every day, people. You've seen me, right? So how could I be on camera every day? I'm sure that's what you're thinking. It's not necessary. Well, it's comfortable now, but it wasn't in the beginning. So you just go out and you do something because you have a passion for it. You want to get your message out. You want to get your dream out. Whatever's boiling up inside you that you know you need to get out. And I don't care what it is, you need to get it out. You need to have that supportive environment. So talk about, what do you do on a daily basis with the Entreprenista?
So, the Entreprenista is an umbrella to what I call is all of the projects. So even, I'm in transition right now with the chamber, but everything that I did for the chamber, all of the programs and the events that I did for the chamber, it just worked with my core and purpose. The family business, I'm put into a leadership position where we have 6 offices. So I have,
wow.
Yeah, we have, so
that's a lot.
I know. So New Orleans, Tennessee, North Carolina, Tampa, Miami, and Orlando.
Wow.
And so all of the marketing and business development, diversity, inclusion, getting smaller subcontractors trained and involved, that is now going to fall under me for the next few years as I kind of train into that succession plan. And then just the Entreprenista in general is just, I think maybe 3 things. One is being open with my story. I have made so many mistakes.
Look, we all have. Let's repeat that, because I think a lot of people, again, I said it earlier, we look like we're on Facebook Live, right? Mm-hmm. So we're on this iPad, we're telling our story, and then people go, well, they've obviously had it easy. They've never. No. I make a mistake pretty much every day. I just can't count all of them.
Yeah, every day is something. Some mistakes are larger than others, but 100%. Everything we do is a decision leading to something that impacts our life or our business. I have been homeless before, trying to keep my when I had my studio, keeping my studio open. In the beginning, I had to make a decision where I was like, I choose to follow my dream, and I didn't tell anyone. I was like bathing in LA Fitness and trying to be cute. And
that's an amazing story. So how is that? Did that change your perspective on how you worked with entrepreneurs? Because a lot of times people do give up and sacrifice in order to live their dream or try to live their dream.
So it did. So when I finally got to the point where I would share, because I was ashamed of it for a while, and then I started to talk about it and realized that when I got response that other folks were like, oh my goodness, I've been close to that. I felt that way. It helped me, it validated where I needed to go with Entreprenista. So it helps me to have very candid conversations with entrepreneurs. Are you sure that you want this? Is it something that you would give up everything for?
Right.
If you fail, are you ready to collect yourself up off the ground and try again?
Yep. It can be a daunting task, but in the end, you have this freedom that we talk about a lot on the show, where you're the driving force. You're driving the boat, you're driving the plane, you're driving whatever the car, if that's what you want. Yes. But you're the one in charge. So when I coach people and they want to make that leap, and the leap can be scary, so we're not saying it's not scary, it can be very scary. But when you make that leap, are you ready to just go with it, whatever happens, whatever? Do you have health? And I even tell people, do you have health insurance? Are you ready to give that up? If you're leaving your job, what are you doing? But I don't do it in a way, and I don't think you either, where we're trying to dissuade them. Right. We just want to make sure you're thinking about everything, because it can be very scary when all of a sudden you're out on your own, and then you have all the I told you so people, which makes me crazy, which you will. But you have people like Lena, who are the Entreprenista, who are going to tell you, look, you just got to push through, right?
You just got to push through.
You have to push through, and you have to. So what are you doing? So we want to talk about change, because change is part of, I think people are very afraid of change. And see, I welcome it. I love it. Every day is a different day for me. And as much as I'd love to plan every moment of the day, I'm horrible at it. But I think people need to embrace change, right? So you talk about this.
Oh my goodness, the only thing constant is change, and it is scary, Ted. It can be scary. So I want to go back and say one thing though, and then I think both of us encourage anyone. Although I push my entrepreneurs, I still say plan.
Agreed.
If you can plan,
I agree.
I am a firm believer. If you have 10 hours, spend 8 planning and 2 executing, so that you can be laser focused. So sometimes we have layoffs, we have challenges where we are forced into a situation. Other times we can plan a little bit more, and if you can do that, I just encourage you to do that.
No, I agree. What Lena's saying is true. Like, you have to have, you just can't take the leap. Hey, I decided I want to open a XYZ company that does, I don't know, ABC. All right, that's fantastic, but you still have to have a plan on how that's all going to work out.
Right.
So spend a lot of your time, a lot of your beginning time planning. Get with a coach, get with an entreprenista, get with somebody who can help you. Stay away from the naysayers. I'm sorry, I'm a big believer in Xing them out, even if you love them and they're your family. You need to surround yourself with people who want to hear what your idea is and what you want to do. And then if you want to make the leap and you've planned it out, make the leap.
And shameless plug, get with some really strong organizations. Chambers are great.
I agree.
I'm on the board now of NABO, National Association of Women Business Owners. Get with your tribe, find your tribe and your team, and people who support you. Find your tribe.
I love it.
I'm a big.
Me too, because here's what happens.
Tribe.
What we talk, like Freedom Fridays, I do every Friday, and we talk a lot about how people who are in your circle aren't necessarily in your corner. So you have to be super careful of who you're letting in, because if they're feeding you negativity and they're trying to douse your dream and they're not providing you anything positive, everything's negative coming out of your mouth, you may want to find a different person that's in your corner. And even if you love them, a family member, best friend forever, business partner, that may not be the person that you need to go forward with. Doesn't mean you don't love them. I had somebody actually say, Ted, I can't not love my family. I'm not telling you not to love your family. I'm telling you that maybe they're not the right people to support what you want to do.
Right. Hi, Rochelle. And I saw someone else who said
we have tons and tons of people. Matt Gordon's on. We have lots of stuff. All right, so we're going to share all of Lena's contact information. Did I get all the talking points? Did I miss anything?
I think so.
All right. All right, so we're going to get all of Lena's contact information when we share the video. You definitely want to reach out to her. She's such a positive force, such an amazing human being, and beautiful at that. So any parting words of wisdom you want to share with them, anything you want to leave them with before we head out?
So through all my experiences, my quote from the Entreprenista is, the ultimate test of one's character is the ability to fail as gracefully as you win. And so if you can fail as gracefully as you win.
That's correct. And I want you guys to not be afraid of that word fail, because it has such a negative connotation to it. And honestly, you just have to keep getting up, and it could be anything, and you have to just keep going. And that's sort of the message I think that you're saying. If you're an entrepreneur, if you have that spirit, if you have something in you, and I personally believe everyone does, we're not all worker bees. I don't know if anybody's a real worker bee, but let's say you have this one dream, go for it. Talk to somebody positive. Sign up for a class. There's a million free classes. There's a million things you can do. You don't always have to engage the Entreprenista or the TED Show. God bless you all for that. You don't always have to do that. Find something free. Find something that speaks to you. That's the other thing. You have to find your tribe, like you said, and you have to build around that. So don't feel bad about leaving. And by leaving, I mean from that perspective, leaving that group that you're in. Don't feel like you're being dishonest, betraying, not loyal, because you're doing what you need to do for you. Find people who want to support that. And that's what the Entreprenista does. So you've been a joy to have on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
See, we covered everything, Laura, I promise. Laura's our PR person. She was like, what? I don't get to ask talking points? No, you do not. So Laura, shout out to you for that. I love you for being patient. But you were amazing. Thank you. And Jenna, thank you for sitting with us during that. We love you guys. Thanks for all the questions. We're going to show you love when we're finished. Thanks for tuning in. And we will see you tomorrow. I've got a couple of great shows, of course. We've got a great lineup this week, as we always do. I'm blessed. So love you guys.